So after school, he put in his earbuds, turned on his favorite music, and went out for a jog around the subdivision. The cool fall air freshened his thoughts and made him zip up his flannel jacket. He jogged down the road, passing million-dollar homes on either side, all set well back from the road, behind huge, well-kept lawns and trees, turning every shade of red and orange. Ben slowed his pace almost to a walk, looking from house to house, deciding what he liked and what he didn't, planning out the house he'd own someday. He loved imitation stone and lots of gabled roofs, big windows, and shady drives. Ahead of him, the road snaked down into a valley, winding between still green oaks and many-colored maples. There were animals in these woods, deer and raccoon, and sometimes even a coyote. Ben had never seen them, but today he walked slowly, silently, looking out sharply on either side, as though seeing a deer would give him an idea, or some kind of mystical sign. He took out his earbuds to listen for their sounds. Once he thought he saw a white tail flash and then disappear, but he wasn't sure. When he got out of the woods on the other side, Ben tried to focus on his plan to get rich. He didn't have skills to get a high-paying job anytime soon, and besides, he didn't just want a job that paid well, he wanted something that would keep paying better and better. He thought about how his grandfather made money. Grandpa had stock in hundreds of companies, he knew. Ben had never thought before about exactly how rich his grandpa was, but now that he thought about it, he realized that he must be extremely rich. After all, the kids who went to his school weren't poor, but they still put Ben's grandpa in a class by himself. Ben fumed again when he thought of what Jeff had said about his parents. He didn't know or care about his dad, but he knew it was true that his mom wasn't rich. She had some connections and did well enough, but the reason they lived with Grandpa was just that. His mom couldn't afford a house in a place with a school she thought was good enough. So, Ben thought, everyone thinks I don't belong here. Jeff thinks I'm a fraud, that I should be somewhere else. I'll show him. I do belong here. I belong more than even Jeff does. Way more than his mom, who's a librarian, even if she married a heart surgeon. My mom believes in me. That's why she brought me here, and I'm not gonna let her down. He'd come a long way from thinking about his grandpa's stocks, but a sudden gust of wind blew a storm of leaves across his path, and he remembered what he had come here for. Grandpa had given him $1,000 of stocks on a previous birthday, and explained something about how they worked. Ben hadn't paid attention at the time, but now he remembered. Of course, the point of stocks was that they went up, if it was a good company, and you could make money that way, maybe even a lot of money. When Ben got home, he got on his computer and Googled, how can you make money on the stock market? And then, who has made lots of money on the stock market? And he read about things like brokerage accounts and people like Warren Buffett. Then he searched for, what's the fastest way to make money in the stock market? And found a new term, day trading. Buying and selling stock the same day. Buying when you thought it was likely to move up later in the day, and selling when it seemed highest. The idea of day trading struck him as a brilliant one. He read up on it until his brain hurt, and the more he read, the more sure he was that this was how he was going to make his fortune, and quickly. Not overnight, of course. No one could make fortunes overnight. But he'd be rich fast, and then he'd buy a bank, and one day Jeff would take out a loan from him. That was where all his daydreams ended. But of course, he had to start somewhere. So Ben turned his gaming basement into an office and signed up for night classes for his next semester in 2 months. Meanwhile, he did market research and opened an account with a broker. Then he asked his grandfather to loan him some capital to start with. Grandpa laughed and said, "A loan? Bless me if I'll ever see the money back. Here's 10 grand. Take whatever else you need out of your allowance. It won't do me any harm to lose the money, and it might do you some good. Knock some sense into you, maybe. Get-rich-quick schemes are all scams, and if you can learn that for 10 grand, you'll have done it cheaply." Ben resented his grandpa's doubts, but he told himself that the old man would change his tune when he came back with a loan, plus a handsome interest,